Hello, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to a brand new program here, Focus on Liberia, the Freedom of Information Hour with Julius T. Jaesen. Mr. Jaesen is here, and we want to take this time to introduce to you our many listeners around the world that we have a brand new program, Freedom of Information Hour, and your host is Julius T. Jaesen II. Mr. Jaesen, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to your show, Freedom of Information Hour. How you doing?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm doubly grateful to be given such a unique platform by the management of Focus on Liberia to broadcast on your very intelligent program and platform, the Freedom of Information Hour. So I'm so much super excited to be on your broadcast this evening from my end.
Thank you so very much. And those of you who have been following Liberian issues, Julius is a writer. He has been doing a lot of journalistic writing, investigative journalistic writing as well. And so he's not a new person to the Liberian community, especially those Liberians who have been following the newspapers and the politics of the day. And we here at Focus on Liberia, we are so excited to have Mr. Jaesen joining our crew here to contribute to what we do here, something he has been doing for a long time now. Well, into this edition of the Freedom of Information Hour, the topic is CPP prospects honor Vice President Joseph Boakai. As many of you are aware, Vice President Joseph Boakai now is the chairman of CPP, and we all are aware of the trouble that has been going on. To discuss this very important topic, we have invited Mr. Menipaka Domoe. Due to poor connectivity in Liberia, he has been making effort. He's still making effort. We are hoping that the internet will get better and he will join us in studio. But we have on the phone Mr. Jaesen, that is Anthony Jaesen. He is a political voice. I like to pull it that way. He's a political actor. He has the scar to prove it when it comes to politics in Liberia. Mr. Jaesen is on the phone because of some conflict with the time. Mr. Jaesen is happy to have you here. Focus on Liberia on the Freedom of Information Hour. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you, Garcia and Garcia. It's a good pleasure having me. And let me say from my end, good morning absolutely to our citizens, foreign resident partners of Liberia who are following your show. It's a pleasing pleasure for me to be on the Information Hour with Julius Jaesen, a distinguished Liberian journalist. I'm very humble, sir.
Thank you. Julius, right now is over to you. You can take charge.
Well, okay. Thank you. Anthony here for introducing the program. You know, I'm new on your platform, even though not new in the journalistic field, the advocacy field, right, the politics of our country. So as a Jaesen will be joining us, is already on the line as he has introduced himself. Along with, we're hoping to get Menipeka Domoe. He facing some internet fluctuation. We hope that anytime soon he will join us on the line. But we have invited two distinguished Liberian intellectuals to be able to talk about the politics of the CPP, looking at the prospects of the CPP on former VP Ambassador Joseph Boakai. So we with no time to delay, we know our viewers very eager to listen to the program. With no time to delay, we like to keep the ball rolling with Anthony Jaesen. You all know he is now a strange person in the politics of our country, somebody with a strong perspective about the CPP going toward 2023. He is a founding executive committee member of the Liberty Party. As a Jaesen, before going to the prospect of CDC, we would like to, first of all, hear your view. You know, over the last 3 to 4 months, there has been deepening leadership crisis within your own political institution that you come from, right? Do you, as a founding executive member of the party that you struggle for and you establish, do you see the party as a party that has been into leadership crisis? If you compare the management and leadership of the party when the party was established under then Councillor Bronsky, the late beat onto a arch, as compared to the leadership of your party under the current Senator Yombli Kanga Lauren, how do you see it? Is the Liberty Party losing that gravitas?
Thank you, Julius. Let me, before starting the conversation with our people, let me apologize that I've not been able to come on the show live so our people can view my body language and the passion with which I would love to discuss this matter. You know, in the legal arena, there is something about the demeanor of the witness. You want to look at the demeanor of the witness to see whether or not the witness is speaking truth or the witness is trying to falsify whatever evidence is being presented. And so it's a side, but I apologize. There was a mix-up with the time, as Mr. C has said. However, I am still here to keep this conversation. Now, to your question, let me say that it is sadly disappointing that the party that we have to establish has now descended into a crisis as a result of the epic incompetence of the political leader of the party. I think Madam Kanga has demonstrated repeatedly that she lacks the leadership skills and credentials to run any institution. And the evidence is there, it's ample, it's incontrovertible. When she said for the short time as the chairperson for the collaborating political parties, it was under her leadership that the collaborating political party, the CPP, descended into crisis. You remember it was under her leadership that Mr. Benila Yuri put forth the false narrative that the CPP document was out of temporal with. And as you all know, and as said, the communication from the lawyers who helped to draft or to straighten up the document, they indicated that there was no substantial alteration. So Mr. Yuri raised a false alarm, but Kanga did not exercise any leadership role to control that situation. That situation blew up, and today the CPP is in crisis. That's one. Even in her own party, today the Liberty Party has a group called the Concerned Liberty Party, partisan. It's because of the poor management skill that the Liberty Party now have Concerned Liberty Partisan. Besides the Concerned group, I'm even hearing rumors that even she herself, along with her friend, they're trying to move to another headquarters. I mean, all of these are not good signs. The leader of the party has the responsibility to keep the party together. You cannot allow your selfish-driven agenda to push you into dividing the party. So it's sad that the party is at this critical juncture. It's not together in unison. It is a disturbing thing, but we trust that at the end of all the disagreement, the squabble, we will come together as a unit and hoping that we will take a united position. So we are hopeful. You know, in political arrangement, there will always be disagreement, but if disagreement is not managed, then we'll have a problem. You remember, Kanga also unilaterally took the party to the National Election Commission, complaining that there was also tampering with the Constitution. The National Election Commission dismissed her complaint in 10 minutes, which says that Madam Kanga have always exercised post-judgment. I think she's committed to doing wrong things, and it's sad for our party and for her own image.
So what do you think is the way forward for the unity of the Liberty Party going forward? What can be done?
I think our listening audience they are aware. People following the broadcast are aware. Partisans of the Liberty Party are aware that the highest decision-making body of the party is the National Convention. Marankanga came to the hem of power as a result of a special convention that was held in Lopa County to complete the tenure of Councillor Vronsky. Now that we have completed the tenure of Councillor Vronsky, I was told by Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ability, that the party, they are preparatory work. I think they have notified the executive committee, because the executive committee is the higher decision-making body of the party in the absence of the National Convention. So I'm told that Mr. Ability has notified the executive committee for them to have a brainstorming session for a decision to be derived, but also hold a national convention. That national convention will settle the issue of the continuance of Marankanga, whether as political leader or as an ordinary partisan. Or if any other partisan have interest in the rule of Senator Barrow, that will be decided at the national convention. But these are things that in the making. I'm told that this will happen soon and very soon, because if we are supposed to endorse out of the two candidates in the CPP who wants to head the CPP, we have to make an endorsement out of a unison, So for the party to be united, the decision will be derived at the national convention, and I'm sure the national convention will be in full swing soon and very soon, as per the information that is available to me.
Recently, your political party, the Liberty Party, hosted the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. We did see a letter that was circulated on the social media coming from your own political leader of the Liberty Party, Senator Yombli Kanga Lawrence, saying that the partisans should go about and doing their normal business. Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings did not show any decorum, any respect as a co-lead political leader of a constituent political party to even communicate to her about his visit at the party headquarters, something that was just done with chairmanability unilaterally, without being reflective of the collective decision of the party, and with showing some level of respect to the senator. What can you say to that?
No, I think the information as was thrown in the public domain was just completely wrong. It was complete misinformation. It was what Mr. Donald Trump have now called a false story or complete misinformation. It was a complete false story. It has no origin in truth. The facts are very clear. The Liberty Party, was established with a foundational principle of democratic centralism. And so that means that the decision of the executive committee is binding on all of its participants. There was an executive committee that was held, and told the vast majority of people in that executive committee voted for Mr. Cummings to visit the headquarters of the party. And Madam Kanga is falsely claiming that she did not know, but let's assume for the sake of argument that she was not aware, and she was made to be aware by other participants. Because every now and then, when Madam Kanga talks in the public, she talks about people inform her. It was the last time she spoke, she said people inform her that the party constitution was data. They wanted to look into that case, nothing was data. Now she's saying that other participants ask her and say, oh, but Mr. Cummings coming to visit, are you aware? Then he say, oh no, I'm not aware. The first thing is, if you are a serious political leader of a political party, and you are working in tandem with your executive committee, you will be aware of happening in the party. To even complain that you were not aware about things happening in your party as a political leader, demonstrate and convince anybody who is intelligent that this lady is an absentee leader. She has become an absentee leader pursuing her own selfishly driven agenda. So if the executive committee make a decision, how can you come now and say, oh, I was not in the no? Because you were not in the no, so nothing positive should happen to the party? That Mr. Comey, who has impeccable character, a decent man in the collaboration, is coming to visit the Liberty Party. Don't you think it was a mark of respect? Our Bishop people have an aphorism that says, it means that a man who has something burning on his heart, who have an issue to discuss, that man is the person who has the honor to reach out. And that person is reaching out of respect. So Mr. Comey and the ANC were reaching out to us, Liberty Party, as a mark of respect. They were coming to us out of deference. So how can Madam Kanga, who is a ranking member of the CPP, will hear that her colleague coming and she will not say, okay, even though my party did not tell me, I will not allow my ego, my selfish, my ego to come in the way. I will talk with the party internally and see what I can say that and I call Mr. Comey the devil he deserves, so we have the competition. Instead of doing that, Madam Kanga sought to run away and to issue this flimsy announcement that you're now talking about. That announcement was in violation of the principle of the Liberty Party. It was a debasement of the Liberty Party principle. It was an impairment and an invalidation of everything that Liberty Party stood for. And I think Madam Kanga was just clearly wrong.
Mr. Jackson.
Wrong.
Mr. Jackson.
Above the party.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
You narrated quite clearly about the Liberty Party too, like the CPP, crumbling at the hands of Nyuma Kanka Lawrence. Mm-hmm. I know you agree with me. She's not the only leader in the party. Your party constitution is clear. There are many leaders. Mm-hmm. But correct me if I'm wrong. From what I'm hearing from you, you are trying to lay all these blames at Nyuma Kanka Lawrence just because she happened to be the political leader. Many people might not think so. There are other leaders too, probably share the responsibility of the chaos you have on your hands as a party. What have you to say to that?
You see, brother, mm-hmm. They say the fish start getting rattled from the head. Mm-hmm. The first thing I want to remind you, Madam Kanga is, quote unquote, a political leader of the party. All right? Mm-hmm. She has a bigger responsibility. Beyond that, Madam Kanga is on record, not once, not twice, but repeatedly, for warning, for cautioning partisans, even in the CPP, that if there are internal disputes, if there are disagreement in the CPP or in Liberty Party, we should handle it internally. That is Madam Nyuma Kanga says, refrain. Madam Nyuma Kanga Lawrence says refrain. Right? That is a refrain. She says that every now and then. Don't put party issue in the public. Don't discuss party internal dispute in the public. Let's handle it internally. Now you want to ask yourself, why Madam Kanga is advocating for the policy or the principle of internal discussion? Why did she have to be the first person to carry Liberty Party belly leaning in the street by issuing this announcement? So you see, this is a woman who says something and doesn't believe in what she's saying. She just say it because she want to placate people. She doesn't believe in anything. That's why the last time when I spoke, I said Madam Kanga has no conviction. She represents nothing. Because if you are advocating that party issues should be discussed internally, and for any reason that you were not in the know that Mr. Comey, a collaborating member of the CPP, was coming to visit your headquarters, and you heard it, what do? You have a telephone to the Secretary General, Mr. Secretary General, what am I hearing? Mr. Comey, my colleague is coming to the place there, and I'm not aware the Secretary General was giving you full briefing. I mean, if you want to do it in goofy, or if you say, okay, I'm going from Osa, let me talk to Mr. Ability. Mr. Ability and Madam Kanga, they have a very good relationship. You got a phone from Mr. Ability. Mr. Ability, oh, I'm hearing this thing. What's going on? My colleague is coming. Have you guys not informed me? What are we doing? They will bring you up to speed. They will brief you, and you can handle it internally. I asked some of the participants, what was the rational basis for Madam Kanga to go in the public other than trying to exacerbate the problem? So, as a leader, She needed to handle this matter maturely. She did not handle it maturely. She exacerbated the situation. And God was on our side and on the side of the Protestant and Mr. Cummings to the extent that the Protestant in know of egoism. That was desire to push on ego first.
Quick follow up here, Mr. Jackson.
Number and welcome, Mr. Cummings.
Quick follow up here, Mr. Jackson. A quick follow up here, Mr. Jackson, so Julius can come in here. We had here on our network here, Abraham Darros DeLon, the senator, Mr. Light. And he spoke in clear terms that it is your party chairman, in person of Mr. Musa Ability, who has been in a consistent habit of taking matters of the party in the public, and not him, Nino Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. What have you to say, Mr. Jackson?
My brother, you know, Dylan is bereft of any serious credibility. Dylan is a lying man. He has lied about everything he left. And this is another lie he's telling. Every day, Mr. Ability are always being discussing things in the public, and I'm here to defend Mr. Ability because that's not my play. But let's look at the evidence before us. Was it Mr. Ability who issued the announcement? To the extent that Marakanga has reduced or said to signing announcement of Labour Party, what does it say to you? At this level, he has no leadership credential, right? Because issue an announcement and your press releases are normally relegated to the exception of the party. You know, the political leader like a sign announcement. So who signed the announcement? Was it Ability who signed the announcement? Let's look at Mr. Dylan credential. This man has lied about everything in his life. That's why I say he is a congenital liar. Now to come and lie to Ability putting in press, was it Ability who signed the announcement? There was something that was said internally that Mr. Cummings was coming to the party headquarters was discussed by the executive committee in keeping with the constitution of Liberty Party. The executive committee agreed and extended the invitation, Mr. Cummings, you can come. Marakanga said, oh, I am displeased. Even though the party in a collective executive committee meeting decided that Cummings should come, he said, because man won. This is a personalization of the political party, which is wrong. The position of political leader is not a position created to be quantified or deified. It was not for the deification of Marakanga. We didn't establish political leader position for people to worship that political leader. It was all a difference for the founding external bearer of the party, Council brought the people in arches. That's why the political leader position was created. So all the different people will consult with you. But the political leader does not run the day-to-day affairs of Liberty Party. The person who runs the day-to-day affairs of Liberty Party is the chairman along with the Secretary General. So for them to say, oh, I was not in the know, so I will start everything, I will obstruct. This is the problem with Africa and with Liberia. People believe that usually involved, they should sabotage things. That's what nobody is. I will sabotage this. And thank God, the vision was not sabotaged. The party knew that the power in any democratic society is inherent in the people. That's why they showed up and they gave Mr. Cummings a mammoth welcome, and nobody was slapped in the face. The other time you heard us say, Dylan, nobody was suspended Dylan. Dylan was also suspended by the executive committee, and he remains suspended. He is a practicing not in good standing because he is dishonest, he is a congenital liar, he is a despicable liar, and a proven liar by the evidence we now know in the public.
Anthony Jackson.
Yes, sir.
A day ago, you issued a strong water statement on the social media where you raised a point in your piece that Senator Nyuma Kanga Lawrence says siblings were Nyuma and her sibling were discussing her motivation about Nyuma alleged support to former VP Joseph Newman Boakai, right? And then in that particular piece, you argue that it is the reason why Nyuma is showing her support to Joseph Boakai because it is widely believed that Ambassador Joseph Boakai will pick Paul Nyuma Kanga Lawrence as his running mate in the 2023 election, right, on the CPP ticket. In an instant case where, given the advancing age of the former VP, that he gets incapacitated, she will, by the ascendancy clause in the Constitution, assume the responsibility, the role of the president. And in that instant case, she will now nominate her trusted partner in Senator Darros DeLon as vice president told her of the Republic of Liberia. And then we saw Senator Dillon recently issue a statement trying to rebut what you just argued, that it is no way that Senator Darius Dillon, can be picked by Senator Yomli Kanga-Lauren, given the fact that the two of them hail from the same Grand Bassa County. What do you have to say to that effect?
You know, it is sad for our country that Brother Dillon, who have made pretenses with education and who are lie about his high school paper, will be in the public and trying to join issue with me on issues of constitutionality. It's sad. If you pay attention to the article that I wrote, the article clearly said that this was a conversation, all right, that have been taking place between Madam Kanga and her sibling. So the first intelligent thing to do, if Mr. Dillon was intelligent, the first thing who had done was to figure out whether or not the conversation took place and why were they keeping this conversation. Because I am reporting, it's like a journalist reporting something, right? The journalist reports and says, look, Madam Kanga and her sibling are discussing that, you know, she will support the vice president, and then eventually, God forbid, because the vice president carrying battery in his chest, if the battery gave up, then she will definitely be the president by the ascendancy clause in the Liberian Constitution. Then she will appoint her friend Dillon to be the vice. So that conversation was a conversation that they had. It could first be that either Madam Kanga and her siblings are not knowledgeable about the Constitution, right? So then the first thing they do, but it is not Mr. Jaesen by saying that Madam Kanga is supposed to appoint vice president, or appoint Dillon as vice president. This is something I am reporting. That's the first commonsensical thing to do, right? So you might say, but I don't normally and her sibling, if you want to be intelligent, your first argument will be, I don't normally and her sibling don't know how the Constitution works, so they might be talking good or that. Because normally has demonstrated over time that she's unfamiliar with the Constitution, even the National Election Commission regulation. She's unfamiliar with it. So she's not free from making that kind of daft move or by taking into consideration that kind of daft preposition, right? So, I mean, she's not clever. So she will be making, you know, a ground statement. But that put that aside and come to the substantive issue that Mr. Dillon trying to raise. You see, Dillon is one person who makes a lot of pretenses about things that he doesn't understand. As ordinary, as simple as the Constitution is, that the president and the vice president should not come from the same country. If you see a senior lawyer putting a conversation, any clever person will want to think twice, or they just jumping in there. Now, what Mr. Dillon is trying to do again is to lie to our people. He is trying to lie to say that he is a vice president. From the technical, legal standpoint, Mr. Dillon now is a citizen of Mosorado County. And as such, Mr. Dillon is paying taxes in Mosorado County for electoral purposes. He is a citizen of Mosorado County, and as such, he can join with somebody from Bassa and participate as president and vice president. The simple analogy I can draw to take on this point is, for example, if the Bassa caucus is meeting to discuss development agenda in Bassa, do they invite Mr. Dillon to go there? No, because Mr. Dillon has a move to represent the resident county of Mosorado County. He is by now a citizen of Mosorado County, and he has perfected where he comes from in the electoral context of electoral policy and constitutionality. America gave a shining example to us. And I think the problem with Dillon, my real problem with the issue is not with Dillon, because Dillon is...
But Mr. Jaesen. Let me say this.
Okay. Let me make a point.
Yeah. I mean, it was just for you to to continue with your point, because Dillon is saying the Constitution, I read his piece, the Constitution talking about people hailing, not resident. So the argument was that he hailed from Grand Bassa County.
I'll come to that.
All right.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Don't worry, I'll come to that.
Go ahead.
I'm taking time to explain what the circumstance is. Because that paragraph in the piece said, I almost laughed my socks off when I heard these people talking this. Now, I started that paragraph. But here is what I want to drive home, right? I can empathize with the people who follow it and with some of the young brothers who young Dillon and clapping for him by writing rubbish. Dillon can be quality in his ignorance. But I'm sorry that young people will not take time to read the Constitution and read other jurisdiction, what is being practiced there. This is what pains me. Because Dillon is quarantined in his own ignorance. He's like a guy who had a false sense about himself, beating his chest, he knows something when he knows nothing. At 52 years of age, Dillon is still saying that he's an apprentice lawyer. When Liberia outlawed apprenticeship in 1971. So you can know that this man is lazy-minded. He doesn't read anything. He lives on borrowed knowledge. And so what he's saying is erroneous, is wrong. There is a legal technicality associated with Mr. Dillon not being a citizen of Mosorado County. Here is the analogy that you will take for consideration. When President George W. Bush of the United States of America was running to be president, he is a resident, he hailed from what? President Bush wanted to choose a friend, Destiny, to be the vice president. But Destiny was now resident in Texas. Destiny was a resident in Texas. He had paid taxes in Texas for 5 years. The American law says the president and the vice president, like our law is copied after the American law. It says the president and the vice president cannot come from the same place. So you know what Destiny do? Destiny had to sell his house, a resident in Texas, move back to Wyoming before he could accept to run as a running mate to George Bush. I'm saying all of this to make the point that if you are a resident or an inhabitant of a place, as per what our law says, Mr. Dillon is now an inhabitant of Mosorado County. He is paying taxes in Mosorado County. He is a citizen of Mosorado County. In the context of electoral policy and constitutional law, you can't say when you were born. No. In the case of Destiny did not born or was not born in Texas. Okay, he was living in Texas. He had lived in Texas for 5 years. When George Bush wanted to take him, you can't take him because we were in the same place. Destiny had to buy, he had to sell his property. He had to sell his house in Texas, move back to Wyoming before he accepted to be vice president. That is the logic that we are putting. And this, I think it was a mistaken logic that nobody there and was totally somewhere across. Because they're not sophisticated to think the way they were thinking. All right? But that Dillon, who is a little new educated man, this man here, he's an apprentice man. If Dillon was really clever, how can his younger brother, Dillon he said he's a Peter High School for apprentice, he couldn't make it. He ran away from St. Peter. His younger brother, Edward Dillon had to get 2 master's degrees now. And what degree Dillon get? 0. He didn't get 12 high school papers. That Dillon argument, you will take over a sophisticated, nuanced argument that I am making. And I see some people dropping all around. Dillon still talking Buddha dash. He had no common sense to understand what he's talking. They're too sophisticated, but it's not brain. All right? Into America and look at the power analysis. Can anybody in Grand Bassa now call Mr. Dillon to development meeting and say blah, blah, blah? No. He has perfected that stature in Bassa. He's now a citizen of Mosorado County. So I draw the parallel with George Bush and Destiny so our people can Google it and read it and understand what I'm talking about. I'm not just waking up in the morning and talking. I think nobody else taking trouble across this year, mistakenly because they're not sophisticated to think the way the American people were thinking.
Thank you.
So all I want to say to our people on this point is don't take Dillon seriously. Dillon said he get class. He gets class, and some people are so less basic. They may got no high school paper. He said, I'll tell you, his younger brother, Edward Dillon, five by him. He don't want to say he gets class, and he go sit down on him to listen to rubbish.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. So what is Dillon's credential to talk serious legal issue? He has no credential. He said he's an apprentice lawyer. Liberia outlawed apprenticeship in 1971.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
A complete set, man. He made pretenses. He lied to our people. And that's why we are in the mess we're in today with him.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Folks, you are watching the Freedom of Information Hour with Julius T. Jaesen as your host here at Focus on Liberia. And I am just here trying to partner with him in this particular broadcast. Julius, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will go to our main topic, which is prospects of the CPP under Vice President Joseph Boakai. Julius got some tough questions for our guests. Is the CPP going to hold, or is it going to implode completely or explode completely on the hands of the experienced Vice President we are told? Let's take that short break. We will be right back, and Julius will be rolling in his tough questions for Anthony Jackson.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
I'm also here along with Julius T. Jaesen, the host of the program, The Information Hour. Julius?
Anthony Jackson, are you on the line?
I'm saying, bro, how are you? Go ahead.
Okay, let us move to the important topic that we call you to address yourself to, looking at the prospects of the CPP, the collaborating political party, under the leadership of Ambassador Joseph Boakai, given the internal wrinklings that have been bedeviling the CPP, especially after the important midterm senatorial election victories in 2020 December. We saw the CPP winning majority of the counties from the ruling CDC, especially Mosuralo County, the one stronghold of the CDC that the CDC vowed to retake in the midterm election. The CPP has been struggling. Yeah, there has been internal wrinkling, dodging the CPP. Do you think, under the leadership of Ambassador Joseph Boakai, is there any prospect of the unity of the CPP going toward 2023?
Yeah, I was trying to answer the question, but you see, I was making a point. I don't know why you got the point clear that I was making here, because sometimes you talk fast and people don't understand the point I'm making. The analogy I drew with dating, the way it's important, the reason why I think it's important to throw into utter disuse that rubbish coming from Dylan is, Jaesen was not born in Texas. He had lived in Texas for 5 years. Governor Bush born in Texas wanted to be president, to be Jaesen the vice president. And so what happened was that they will use Dylan analogy argument. Jaesen will argue to the American people and say, look, I'm not born in Texas, so they make it take care of me. I just resident here, right? He will make that argument. But they say, no, you are an inhabitant of this place. You pay taxes here. The governor, even though you were born here, he cannot take you on the ground. Oh, you are an inhabitant, you were not born in Texas. So for you to benefit this thing, you have to go back. Jaesen had to sell his property in Texas, move back to Wyoming. So, I mean, Dylan is a resident now, an inhabitant of Mosurado County. He represents the people of Mosurado. He's a citizen of Mosurado. How can this clown say he will go to Basel, somebody will go behind the Basel and this? He's a rubbish talk. He's a rubbish talk. So I hope he gets that message clearly. Let him take some time to read. The man,
yeah, the message is exhaust yourself on that.
But let me go to the point you just made. You see, let me tell you. There are those who are wary of the CPP. I can say to them, it is important for us to recognize that the CPP have made some progress. The first progress the CPP have made, which our people are glossed over, is the CPP have been able to reduce the presidential contenders to what? 2. If we didn't have CPP, we'll have 4 people to be contending for the presidency, correct? But I think at this stage we have 2, Mr. Boakai and Mr. Cummings. Now, whether or not there is a bigger prospect under the Boakai leadership, I really don't see it. Why do I say this? Mr. Boakai, as you may know, is not in excellent health. It is not, Mr. Boakai is not in excellent health. Mr. Boakai, even though he's in his advanced age, which is a takeaway, but he's not in excellent health. Mr. Boakai is carrying a pacemaker in his chest. Pacemaker is defined as a battery-operated device that is placed in the chest or under the skin of the chest to help to regulate the heartbeat. So it means Mr. Boakai was experiencing irregular heartbeat. Either the heart was beating slowly or it was irregular. That's why they had to put that battery in his chest. Now, the man operate on battery will not be able to effectively lead the opposition community. Why do I say so? I say this because in democracy is a competitive game. And if you are involved in a democratic competition, you have to reach out to the citizenry. That reaching out to the citizenry require you taxing your health, riding on bad roads. You know, because in our country, we don't have helicopters that will be flying up and down. You got to ride on the bad roads. You got to engage with citizens. With a battery in the old man's chest, he will be age 80. Does he have the morphology, the stamina to engage with citizens actively? I said no. Come on, analysis.
There are other people today who are surviving on pacemaker and they're still living, they're still moving strong and healthy.
No. What he's doing is a denial of reality. It's like somebody lying to himself. You see, it's one thing for you to lie to other people. It's another thing for you to lie to yourself. When you lie to yourself, then you want to destroy yourself. That's what the old man is trying to do. And we have to stop him from doing it. My thing, the point I'm making is, Julius, let's take common sense to high level. If you were to have malaria, ordinary malaria, can you go to a political party meeting and be active? When you got malaria, brother, you will collide. You have to be on your blanket. You sit there and I'm taking car or something like quick. Correct? Now, we're not talking about common malaria. We're talking about somebody who got pacemaker in his chest. In fact, when you get pacemaker in your chest, if you go to an airport, you got to notify the airport authority that, look, I got pacemaker in my chest. They don't put me through the scan. Because the pacemaker and those scanning machines, they don't work in harmony. What a woman got in his chest, it's a serious problem. But some of our friends, they are trying to glorify fitness. Everywhere around the world, government built hospitals all over for citizens to be well. Because only a well and healthy citizenry can actively participate in democracy. The old man is not well. Besides that, the man is age 80. Jaesen, if you say you want to change Liberia, we want to change. I mean, for common sense purposes, you want to change, and you think an 80-year-old man with pacemaker in his chest can bring change to Liberia? If you want a change, you need somebody who represents change. Besides that, my brother has been in government cycle for over 40 years. Somebody who's been in the cycle of government for over 40 years, who has friends in all kind of government cycle, you think he will have the strength to do anything serious? He has become part of the decadent government system in the country. So you will not make anything. If you want somebody to make change, you need somebody who will start with credentials. Say, look, yeah, I am. Say, for example, it's a brother like Comey, right? Brother like Comey has spent, for the most part of his life, in the private sector. He has established himself as a reputable man in the private sector. Impeccable character. This man was born in Liberia. He went to school in Liberia, demonstration school, I'm told. It's school for every ordinary Liberian person. This is the story we know tell our person. That story is inspirational. Born in Liberia, late in Nickel Town, he went to demonstration school. Anybody can go to demonstration school. He hustled his way into America, corporate America, and joined the Coca-Cola Global. Yeah. He worked so hard. He didn't steal for anybody. Today, he rose to the rank of vice president of Coca-Cola. This is an inspirational story that we can tell the children in Liberia that will inspire them. And so if this kind of man, with that kind of character, with that kind of pedigree, comes to us and say, look, you gave me change, let me feed your country. Should we say no? Should we?
Anthony Jackson, may I ask a follow-up question? Anthony Jackson.
Please do.
Anthony Jackson. Can you get me, Anthony Jackson?
Yeah, he said, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
It is widely believed that of all the presidential aspirants, especially even within the CPP, Mr. Kumi is the richer man. That is why a lot more of the people like you are leaning away. Is that true?
No, but
because he has money, he made a way into corporate America, and he earned a lot of money for himself. So is that factor that driving a lot more of the intellectuals and advocates to supporting Kumis against an experienced elderly statesman in Joseph Boakai?
No, Julius, you see, we gotta be realistic with the conversation, right? We have talked about, I think Nigerian people are gravitating towards Mr. Kumi because of his impeccability of his character. He has an impeccable character. His achievement is remarkable. And I just told you that his achievement can point to or it can inspire any young Liberian. You know, oh, that man here who became vice president for Coca-Cola, he went to demonstration school too. I can go to demonstration school and be vice president of any major company in the world. It's inspirational. Those are the things people are looking at. But let me remind about people who want to talk about wealth. You know, Dr. Henry Berman Famula Jr. is one of our public intellectuals. I saw when he appeared at the TRC, he talked about this same thing about wealth. Dr. Famula says, normally I don't bow to people who get wealth, who get money. But there is an exception. He said there is an exception. He repeated it. He said the exception is when you make your money in the private sector. I will show some respect to you. I will show some respect to you because in the private sector, people don't just go and steal and get rich overnight. He said, but if you can't and get rich overnight from government money, he said, I got no respect for you. That's the formula. He's on record. Listen to the TRC appearance. The point here is we should not be decrying Mr. Kumi for being rich, especially for being rich in the private sector. What we should be condemning and to be denouncing is the people who overnight got in government and became rich overnight. People who are now today, some of them and myself went to school in LU. Today they are richer than God in Liberia because they're in government. These are the people that we should condemn and chastise them and do lesser audit on them. Say for instance, my friend McGill. When McGill and I were in LU, when you were in the MPP struggling, where did McGill come from today to build a Muslim in Liberia? If you have private money, if people say, oh, that's my friend there getting the money to build a Muslim, I say rubbish. Rubbish. Because the Liberian public policy says no government official should take any money beyond $500 without disclosing it. If you take $500 for anybody that gets a Liberian government says you must disclose it. That Muslim, they built there a more than one, I don't know how many, they come close to $1 million or 500,000 plus. All right? So where is the friend getting that kind of money? Why did they disclose it? Or the transparency? These guys are urinating on, metaphorically speaking, they are urinating on all the good policy people in the country, all the laws. Those are the people that we should be condemning and decrying. They get rich overnight. I'm using our power bullet because it will make good effect for people to relate. Mr. President Weah, if the President Weah doesn't love a mother, but the President Weah buried a mother in Museum, right? But they tell her, oh, he get more contact than President John Weah now, that he get more millionaire friends than John Weah. No. What Nigeria has done is to pillage and plunder the resources of our country. We need to call these people out. The other people come and say, oh, but coming rich from the private sector. As a formula says, we should be concerned about people getting rich overnight in our country. Let Nigeria tell the sources of his so-called wealth that he built with no way. These are CDC people who said, we are poor people. We stand to fight for the poor. How can you be fighting for the poor when you bury Mr. Leon in the face of stinking poverty across the country? You are very insensitive. Today, some of the CDC people, they have transformed themselves into urban bourgeoisie. They built swimming pool. While Sunny Wing remains the same, our people are still going to Sunny Wing. and using the Solin weed to defecate. So our people are still taking bath in outside bathroom. While CDC officials who clean say they are revolutionary, they for the people, they building a swimming pool.
Mr. Jackson?
Do you not see the disparity? It's a real thing for now. If you really think for now, the rapture of the earth. Now what Frank Fanon described there, he said they are fake revolutionary.
Mr. Jackson?
They're not genuine in the advocacy because no revolutionary should be concerned about lottery. Revolutionary should be genuinely concerned about the welfare of the people, letting people have property, not imposing property and distributing property across the country. It is sad.
Anthony Jackson, may I follow up here? Are you supporting Alexander Benedict Cummings for president?
At this stage, I have not made a decision yet. But I can say to you that Mr. Cummings has an impressive CV. And it is a CV that we all need to give consideration to. Mr. Cummings, we have not gotten any report from where he worked in Coca-Cola Global that he did anything bad there. If he had done anything bad, he would not accept to the rank of vice president. So he has an impeccable character, and I think we should give us some consideration. I have not made a decision. My party will make a decision when the party meets and a consensus is derived.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, that will answer my question there, but then let me follow up here. I would think that you will support somebody because they have a plan for our country. I know you say you have not made a decision here, but you might be looking at, some ingredients that might sway you to making that decision. And I know in politics, you have to look at the candidates for who they are and also for the plans and ideas that they have.
Right.
Has Cummings in any way convinced you with any plans and ideas that you think might be beneficiary for our country, Mr. Jackson?
One of the things I've heard the Cummings people say, and I'm not yet to drum for Cummings, the time will come when we all get convinced, when the party make a definite decision. But one of the things I've heard them say, which I'm impressed with, is that Mr. Cummings comes from the private sector. He has a solid private sector credential behind him. In the private sector, people work hard for their money. So he said, when you allow me to lead our country, I will bring back industry. I will bring back job. The last time a former president Kelly accused the CDC people of basking in opulence. We were personal opulence, right? What Mr. Cummings is saying is that we don't need personal opulence. We need industrial opulence. We need industry to be all across our country. Cummings say, I will work hard to bring industry to Liberia to put our people back to work. Today, there are thousands and thousands of people in Liberia who are jobless and idle. Poverty is all across the country. So Cummings saying, look at my credential from the private sector. I live in America. What runs America is the private sector, brother. People go to American government not to make millions. They go to the private sector. In America here, Cummings is saying, people leave their home 5 o'clock in the morning. Some people 4 o'clock to go to job and be there on time. He said, I will make sure that government will be efficient. If you're working for government, you will not show up to the office and say, oh, government, your car is coming high so that 10 o'clock. No. He said he will attract investors to the country. He will put people back to work. He will invest in our roads with a good road network. Our people will be able to access the offices very soon in time. He said he will make sure that the issue of agriculture will be on the agenda because of the social future. These are the things that Mr. Cummings is saying. But I am attracted to the fact that he wants to attract job opportunity and bring industry to Liberia. I want to see Liberia work again. I want to see Liberian public servants go to work on time. Can you imagine today? I'm told that our own man, President, he better go to the office. There's very much. You don't remember the money. Just go to how you got it, where you resort. So that was the result. Now, Cummings is saying, I will go to the marshal first thing in the morning. I will lead by example. I will make sure that other civil servants will go to work on time. If it's 8 o'clock, you got to be there 8 o'clock. That's the kind of discipline that Mr. Cummings is bringing from the private sector to the public sector. I hear other people make the lazy argument, but then I ain't got government experience. What experience do you need, brother? You can transport the experience from the private sector to the public sector. I said to them the other time, look, the analogy we can draw so we can understand the difference between private sector and public sector is number one. The private sector is almost like driving a automatic car. And the public sector is like what? driving standard, right? Because the standard is a little complicated, you can choose gear. But there is a foundational basic for any driver, and that foundational basic is you must know steering control. So if you know steering control, if they give you
standard
car, it shouldn't take you 2 weeks or 1 week to learn how to drive it. The first thing you need is the steering control. Mr. Kumi already got the steering control. Mr. Kumi will not be compromised by some of his old friends being government because he's not a government guy. The other difference you see in public sector and private sector is that in the private sector where Mr. Kumi comes from, they maximize profit. He said, I will make sure we maximize profit in our country. In the public sector, you know what they do? They maximize power. Kumi said, I'm not interested in too much power. The Liberian people are even wary of power. Every day, our people say the presidency is too powerful. So they don't want too much power for the president. So Kumi is not coming to learn any extra new thing. All he's going to bring is put in the place the system that he has accustomed to in the private sector. People go to work on time. Make sure he can work around the clock, go to work maybe 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and leave from there by 12 o'clock in the night, making sure that he can work for Liberian people and to attract investors. We don't want a part-time president who will go to office anytime he wants to. We want a disciplined president who will say, in the morning, I got work to do, I got to go.
Thank you.
That's why we will move from the hall and go to somewhere else and be drinking anything you want to drink and lecturing. Liberia is a difficult place. We don't need a president to lecture. We need a president that will not have free time. We need a president who will work around the clock. Let me tell you, brother, before I end, I know you want to come and ask another question. See how much our country is being degraded and embarrassed. Liberia that you know or that you have known for time immemorial. Today, Liberian people have reduced our standard. Our president today is happy to take picture in the hallway. And people are celebrating it. That's the most recent past government, Ellen Johnson. Now, only did she go to the White House, the Oval Office, to take picture there. President George Bush wrote a book and put her knee inside. President George Bush flew for America, went to Liberia to visit this woman. Today, our people are happy because they put the president to take picture in hallway. That in hallway, you're supposed to take picture and be celebrating, brother, or you're supposed to be in the Oval Office to meet the American president as equal in our office. You can't do it. You're in hallway and you're taking pictures and you're dancing around for a picture taken in the hallway. Anybody can take picture in hallway. You know that with the president? Anybody can do that. What you must do, I want to remember you and want to talk about it, is meet the American president in the Oval Office. Almost all the powerful figures in the United States government in Tampa visited Nigeria. Even Samuel Brown went to the Oval Office to Robin. So there you're celebrating because you take picture in hallway. In London, come on, man! Stop it! You reduce our standard too much. Stop it.
Thank you. Julius want to come in here, but let's go back to.
You just mentioned Anthony Jackson that Mr. Kumi managed his way from Liberia, claiming the corporate world, the corporate ladder in a global multinational corporation like Coca-Cola, and becoming vice president. And he resigned from Coca-Cola with no dent on his credibility, with no damages to his integrity. That's the reason why you think person of such deserve serious attention and consideration by the Liberian people. What do you also have to say with Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai, who over the last 40 years has worked in government, and there is absolutely, as public record is concerned, there is no dent to his credibility. He worked all the government. There's no other report indicting him of any malfeasance and misfeasance in government. And he in the CPP that you are a member of, Ambassador Boakai, is seen as the most experienced candidate in terms of governmental experience. Why wouldn't you want to support such a person as that who have worked over the last 40 years in government with no damages to his character? Then supporting somebody or a consideration on somebody who has admittedly told the Liberian people you have no governmental experience?
You know, Julius, what I would say to that question, and I think it's a very intelligent question, a good question, is number one, Mr. Boakai is himself telling us in the public, please do not support me. I've heard him say it. Mr. Boakai said, during his interview with Mr. T. Magrate on 50-50, he said, But being vice president, the pressure was on me so much. Then when I contested in the election to be a president of this country, the pressure was on me so much. As a result of the pressure, I developed heart problems. And today I get pacemaker in my chest. I'm not well. Now, when somebody tell you that kind of thing, the person is basically telling you in a subliminal way that please don't touch me further. If the old man to get pacemaker in his chest as a result of being vice president. And in fact, the election, the 2017 election, he was technically the incumbent president, even though other people will say loosely that there was no incumbent, but Mr. Boakai was enjoying incumbency because it was a continuation of the UP administration, which was vice president in. You have a continuous president who was vice president, who was trying to be president, saying that the election pressure made me to develop heart problem. And I get pacemaker. Do you want to put him through another rigor again? I love Mr. Boakai so much that I don't want to give him a job that will kill him. They may tell me our vice president and the president made me to get heart problems. Our vice president, I wanted to be president, and the pressure gave me so much hard time. I got pacemaker today in my chest. Pacemaker in your chest shows that you're not strong. You're not healthy anymore. You got some problem with your heart. The main heart not functioning properly. You want me to give me a job that will require bigger time. Because at this stage, at the time Joe Boakai was making that statement, his age was not advanced. So God is not advanced. He is going to be 80 years old, 2023. So, brother, if the man was younger in age and he got heart problems for being vice president and for running in a campaign when he was the incumbent and he got heart problems, he wants for him to not be when he's not incumbent anymore. He does not enjoy incumbency. So we are now enjoying incumbency with resources to his disposal and then using it any kind of way. Even that kind of state competition. You want to bring someone an old man who get a battery in his chest, 80-year-old brother. You see, so Boakai is himself telling us, please don't support me. I love him so much that I don't want to give me a job that will kill him. So that's why I'm telling you, let's prevent it. The other thing is, we're talking about experience, brother. I don't want to be too critical of my own man, because I'm my own man. You know, I work in the government. It was the United Party government that made me permanent representative and all of that. First, my competence, and then the critical. I don't want to be critical of the old man. So I say,
you don't got to be critical, just speak the truth.
Years of working in government, what is there to show? If you want to make any difference, how can you make a difference? Every time you work in government, you say, oh, the only person in our government, I don't see anything, and other reports vindicate me, and this, that, and the rest of it. There is a massive in law that says there is no innocent bystander. If you work in government, you are vice president, and you believe somebody did bad thing in our government, what was the personal rule? Because I don't like corruption, but the corruption in the government, I will take this thing. Did he do that? There's no innocent bystander to God. Mr. Boakai, key consigliere. Brandis J. Samuka, who kept Mr. Boakai with a campaign, 2017 campaign. He is a need stealing for your people money. There's a corruption case. They are being convicted. What have Boakai said about a key consigliere, Mr. Brandis Samuka? He didn't say anything because I man. God, what? This is the liability associated with working in government and being friendly with some of these people who are inherently corrupt. So I am worried. The experience you're talking about may not be an experience that will carry the country anywhere. It is an experience of associating with corrupt people. It is an experience of promoting political tribalism. I'm told that almost everybody who works in the vice president office for local country, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. If somebody has been promoting...
And Mr. Jackson...
Okay. If somebody has been promoting tribalism all through their life, you really see at age 18 they will change. They will not see the disastrous consequences of political tribalism during the SY-DO regime. Is that what we want to repeat? Is that the experience you want? I don't think we need that experience. The experience we need, somebody from the private sector with clean record to come and try his or her best. This is the experience that will benefit Liberia.
Mr. Jackson, thank you so very much. To your point that Anthony V. Kessley, who I understand was the special assistant to the vice president for the 12 years he was vice president, told me, Anthony C. personally, that he is now from Lofa County. I also know, and I was told by the very Mr. Kessley, that there's a lady that the lady in the VP's office who happened to be, I think, somebody for finance is from Maryland County. But let me put this question to
But see, you just need two people. I said almost everybody. It could be 80%, 85%. So you can get 2-3 people who come from different countries. So it doesn't invalidate the point.
Okay. Noted.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me come to this. Vice President Jaesen Boakai served Ellen, and we can all, rightfully say, served Ellen Jaesen Sirleaf loyally for 12 years. You, as a man with a political eyes, what do you read into Ellen hesitancy of supporting Vice President Jaesen Boakai? Is there anything you see in that you can read to us who don't have better understanding of this thing we see with Ellen and Boakai? What does it say?
See, this is a very intelligent question. And I'm concerned about this, right? Because I worked at the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism, right, for a long time. I think I stayed almost close to 8 years in that place, right? And if I decided to be president or to be representative, and my most immediate former boss is not optimistic or Julius to be singing for me or singing behind me, I think you guys should be concerned. Because nobody knows me more than people I work with, right? For example, I work with Mr. Brown, you are the person I work with very closely, Mr. C.A., all the people. I work with them. If those people cannot endorse me publicly, stand behind me, holding my hand, you should be concerned. So it is the same thing with the Boakai. I don't know why Madam Sally stand with Mr. Boakai. And I can't put my money in that one because I beat people conversation. But I have not seen her publicly holding the old man here and endorsing him. There got to be something that we all got to be concerned with. Does that mean that Mr. Boakai cannot lead effectively after her? Does he not believe in his credential? I don't know. It's a question that we all got to be asking. But we should be concerned that we have not seen, the mother of the nation, the respected global figure who doesn't have a position, who is very articulate and eloquent. He has not said anything in the public person, in the eloquence that I enjoy about her. About Mr. Boakai, yes. So we got to be concerned and be asking ourselves, is she with Boakai 100%, or is she just lukewarm because the vice president was not too? I don't know, but it's a difficult question. I don't know. They are big people. But I am saying, if I or you see it, if you wanted to be something over there, well, not sure, or you say, man, I'm raising my hand. The first person I go say, I endorse Mr. C, it will be a man, If cannot come with a full endorsement, I want to ask my brother, what's going on? The man, we are on the show, he can't endorse me publicly, but I got to wait more. So, this is the dilemma, this is the challenge, but I don't want to get into that place because it's a conversation between two elders. My point here is, Mr. Boakai had announced the self-condition. If we want to change Liberia, we find a place. The Unity Party got some young, intelligent, vibrant, educated people there. Every day they say, well, ready to lead. That's a slogan. Ready to lead young people, and you take an 80-year-old man to put in an election, brother.
All right.
So why young people
Mr. Jaesen, may I follow up here quickly so Julius can come in here? What I also see, Mr. Jaesen, is that I don't see the Unity Party intellectuals that we all know out there making a case for VP Boakai. The only person I see, maybe I'm the only one who actually see this, is George Lobo is the guy who I see out there. I know Gafwan was with the Unity Party. I know Amara Connor, was with the Unity Party, and many others. They are now out there and making a case for VP Jaesen Boakai. What is going on here? Is it that they don't trust the former vice president to make a good president? What is it? Do you know?
But that's the $1 million question that we all got to ask. And if only George Lobo is doing it, you want to ask George Lobo why motivation, what country he comes from. Brother, I'm just saying to you, we got to be careful about the future of our country. We cannot be fighting to replace Mr. Weah with somebody who will almost be acting as a man. Mr. Weah had to go to the office. All right? Every time he can go to the resort, he will himself. They will bring another old man who have already informed us publicly that he got battery in his chest and the battery can give us any time to make him president. Then he will spend most of the day in hospital. Is that not true? Am I wrong to think like that? The other time I raised the issue about Article 63. I said Article 63 of the Liberian Constitution warns us, Liberia, It says, when you have a president or a vice president who become incapacitated as a result of illness, we shall move him or her from office. All men Boakai as our man now, so to speak, he is on his way to incapacitation. He on the road. Are we going to normally assume this risk? The man get first check up, first make out a chair, battery a chair, battery can give us any time. So one of the ladies on one of the show were arguing and say, oh, but 20 young people can get first make up. So what do you mean? So I said to the lady, I said, my sister, 20-year-old free, the morphology, the muscle can take it. But if you put a pacemaker in an 80-year-old, that's a different ball game altogether. That's all free. 80-year-old is all free. 20-year-old is a stronger free. So you can look at the analogy and see what you will do on it, what you can bet on. You see? So, the point I'm making is, if you 80-year-old, then you get pacemaker, bro. The muscle not as strong again. It's still a risk. Especially even during the COVID in London, where I come from. The first people we tried to give vaccine to in London was the older people, the senior citizens. Why? Because they're vulnerable. So, 20-year-old made that pain because he had that functioning well. We can bet on his smoke. But for 80-year-old brother, you want to bet on him? And with all the sophisticated young people in the party ready to lead. They're ready to lead. An 80-year-old with pacemaker will lead Liberia and keep the country. You sure about that?
Anthony Jackson? You have argued that Ambassador Boakai is on his way to incapacitation, considering his declining health and advancing age. Is this something that you're considering to take a lawsuit to the court if the National Election Commission qualifies Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai as a candidate in the upcoming 2023 presidential election? Because the Constitution, you have argued front against people being terminally ill, assuming the Liberian presidency. Is this something that you, Anthony Jaesen, is considering to sue the National Election Commission if she qualifies Ambassador Boakai, that you assuming is on his way to incapacitation, given the Constitution, front are people being terminally ill?
No, brother, I'm not going to file any lawsuit. We are acting in the terrain of opinion, where we can persuade people. The conversation I'm keeping with the nation is a conversation intended for the nation to make the best decision. Tomorrow, if they make the wrong decision, at least I will be vindicated. You will not say, oh, Mr. Jaesen did not say it. The last time the campaign started, some people were saying, we can't bet on Ambassador. We have too much. He ain't got too much experience. He just played football. He spent less than no time in the Senate. He will not do well for Liberia. So people say, oh, let's get a chance. Today, we are giving Ambassador we have chance. And those people who want us are being vindicated. I am making my case to the Liberian people. They go out and listen, that's good. If they don't listen, tomorrow history will be kind to me. See how much Ambassador Weah has shown that he's incapable of even naming other narrative. The recent time is that Weah was in Kakata City. What did he tell the people in Kakata City? They said, oh, fire burn, and we need fire service, and we need fire truck. President Weah saying, oh, but I tell you that he left out to put it in the budget. So the president, after 3 years, is only aware that the budget is the president's budget. How much more incompetent somebody can show for you to say, oh, I will never feel. After 3 years, you don't know that the budget in Liberia is your budget. And that is because it is your budget. That's why they'll call you every time. Tell Wednesday to come and explain how you spend money in the budget. You think I let you let that budget, they call you and explain how to spend money in the budget. They call you because it's a president budget. And so my friend Sandra Tour, instead of being around President Weah and speaking BP grammar, you gotta be telling the man simple things so you're not embarrassing yourself publicly. The budget is the president's budget. It's the president's budget. If the people say they want fire truck, you got to put it in the budget, Mr. President. Don't say go to your lawmaker. It is your responsibility to put whatever you see fit for the Liberian people. That's why all got together and made you president. So the budget is your budget. But I am saying, what we need in Liberia now is competence. We must not be betting and be playing fun with the country. We need somebody to do heavy lifting for Liberia. If you went to Liberia and see the level of deplorable situation in Liberia, you will know. The last time Nyuma when we spoke, bro, I know the woman. The woman said about the property in the town is sinking. The property high. And then, oh, what is happening? But when people go there and study real people get angry. Poverty has quadrupled in Liberia, brother. We have to get a serious guy who knows how to work around the clock, know all the international people because he works in the international community and in the international private sector to carry development to Liberia. What runs America is not a government, brother. I mean, in terms of making money, all that. It is the private sector.
Mr. Jackson, Anthony Jackson, you know, you follow these things very well. The CPP is at a crossroad. And we are where we have VP Boakai in charge. He spoke recently at his takeover program. And he said that under him, the CPP will be institutionalized. All right. So, Mr. Jackson, do I have your attention now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I understand that, folks. We are sorry about that. Our guest is in the car with family members, so. Mr. Jackson, as I was saying, Mr. Boakai is on record saying he will institutionalize the CPP. He preached about unity and reconciliation. Is that something we're going to see?
You see, the communication from the ANC or the signature of Mr. Comey, it doesn't give us too much hope. Because he said when the VP spoke the last time, he was concerned about the VP latest action. He had some serious reservations that they could not hold meeting and they were serving notices, they were serving short notices, they were serving agenda with all, they were not serving agenda and all of that stuff. So he had some concern. You see, bro, it is one thing for you to say something, it's another thing for you to practice it. Anybody can say any nice thing, but the action. So whether or not the VP saying, oh, you will be able to reconcile, it's a one different thing. If you making effort to reconcile. Now, if you have your surrogate, say for example, sitting somewhere and really insult on Mr. Comey or other member of the CPP, and we see you dancing with that surrogate who are made happy, not to make intelligent argument, but to really insult. And you brother sitting there, dining and whining with that man, you think the other man will be comfortable? Is that a mark of reconciliation? There's no effort to keep your surrogate in check. By the time you open your phone and go on the show, you're using all kind of almost palatable, unfriendly words. All I have done on this show today is to explain to you the every condition of the old man who he himself made public. So I have not said, but the other man, the other surrogate, that Mr. Boakai will hang on now to compete with him all in America. That's the one who I use the platform to say all kind of disparaging things, all kind of mean things, all kind of bad words on Mr. Comey. And you think that's a mark of reconciliation when you can't embrace that man? Are you embracing the insults too, Mr. Boakai, as an elected man? Is that what you're associating yourself with? So these are hard questions that old man Boakai needs to answer. And he answered the questions and the pastor, thank God.
Mr. Jaesen, quickly here. Mr. Boakai is now in the States. Something that I'm not a journalist, but I'm practicing now. I can say that, and I'm sure I'm going to perfect this. What I saw, Mr. Jackson, is that Joseph Nyuma Boakai was giving gifts to people who are practicing. I don't want to say journalism, but who are in the media arena, talking about folks at Spoon TV, the panelists who are always asking questions, and he gave them gift. This is a former vice president who is a candidate in the upcoming election, and he is giving gifts to folks in the media. We're talking about judgment here. What have you to say on this?
You see, brother. And so that's why I'm concerned, because when you're talking judgment, these are the things that you bring to bear in the discussion, right? Mr. Boakai has been part of a government that brought about this public policy, advising, government officials from either giving that kind of expensive gift or receiving expensive gift. If he goes in the public against people who are, because they themselves say they're not journalists, but they practice it. But when you're practicing as the standard, any profession you're practicing, you are obliged to follow the rules and regulations of that profession.
Exactly.
And they are publicly taking against. I think it was a mistake. I thought it was poor judgment. No journalist or practicing journalist or somebody in the terrain of journalism should be taking control to broadcast terrible stories for anybody, whether politician or business person. It is wrong. It is unethical. It is in the PUL code of conduct. If you can't be a newsmaker, the newsmaker may need you go. You're not supposed to take case on that man. Can we now argue that the day that Mr. Boakai did was to keep the people sweet, to be friendly with him, so they would say nice thing about him? I don't know, but I think it was poor judgment. You see, in the 2017 election, Mr. Boakai also exercised poor judgment, and that was costing that election. Mr. Boakai and his people have now won the election. And then one of his key consigliere, Mr. Vani Sherman, a commandant of Mr. Boakai, started to say mean things about Madam Sally. He said, oh, we can win the election with all Madam Sally. We don't need that woman. And what happened? What happened? Boakai, the campaign, the propaganda came against Boakai, and today he's not president. If people close to you are saying mean and disparaging things about the other candidate or other important people in society, you got to rein them in. He exercised poor judgment at that time. Today, he exercises poor judgment again. He put Mr. Ure behind him. Mr. Ure is using unpalatable, impolite words or other people in the collaboration. Mr. Ure said the people in the collaboration, somebody was nefarious, somebody was dubious, somebody was, it's all kind of words you were using. I said, but these are unfriendly words. How can Mr. Ure, who has a public record ready with Sheen, come and describe other people as being nefarious? But again, he associated with Boakai, and Boakai found comfort in the words. He not exercising proper judgment in the cases that we highlighted. I think if it means well, you got to take a break, talk to some of the people and say, look, brother, you can promote me. We're all telling people that they're nefarious. We're all saying meeting about other people. That I'm doing. I'm not promoting Kumi. All that I say is Kumi has an unexpected CV. You can look at the CV and you want to endorse it, fine. You don't want to endorse it at your business. But he has an
Anthony Jackson. Anthony Jackson. Anthony Jackson. Anthony Jackson, possibly Ambassador Boakai is afraid that if he try to quiet down Mr. Ure may just implore his talk show host to go after Ambassador Boakai. And secondly, it is believed, and Joseph Boakai himself has confessed that he financially dependent. He lives on loan, he does not have money, and he's depending on Ure to be able to fund out his campaign activity. So calling Mr. Ure to order may not put in good standing to get the support of Mr. Ure to fund out his campaign. And secondly, Mr. Ure may just unleash his propaganda, his talk show host on Boakai that will dampen the chances of Boakai in the CPP.
Which he did before. If I may add that, which he did before. Go ahead.
But let me say this. You know, everywhere around the world, and even in our own private life, we are already like to make decisions on the basis of fear. Are we not going to say that, oh, I care, if I say the right thing then, and Mr. Julius of the surrogates then will come.
Hello, have we lost Mr. Jackson?
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, so the point I'm making is, if the old man at this stage is either afraid or intimidated by the threat or somebody coming after him, will he have the courage to bring or somebody can hardcore corner in Liberia in? For example, Francis South and all people are using it as an example. And I want to use it as an example because the Supreme Court has said that he told the Soya people pension money, even though the National Defense hardcore called back budget. This is the thing that made me sick about the whole thing. Oh, but you feel the super budget and you go to pour Soya people money, brother. What is that? This is wickedness. And old man brother said anything about that? No. He still telling people in Loma, you put money together and pay the money back. Even though some of the Soya people who money were eating for Loma. It's a scary thing for our country. If the man doesn't have courage now to look at Mr. U and say, Mr. U, even though he say you're millionaire, but they are millionaire, baby. will not allow me for me to sit down here quietly, for you to accuse corrupt with whom we are working and describe them as dubious, as nefarious, and subversive. No, these words are not polite. They are not good for polite conversation. They are not good for civil conversation. Mr. You can pull the words back. Why don't I be able to do it? If you want to do it now, tomorrow you will be able to do it, brother. That's the question somebody asked it. The left council of Brooklyn asked it. Is it woman, brother? Today we're talking corruption in the country. You were vice president for 12 years. What did you personally do to deny corruption in the government? You were sleeping on the job? What happened? They say, oh, Brooklyn attacked the man personally. But these are hard questions that some of our leaders need to answer. If you can't muster the courage now, what will you muster it? I think for the proper functioning of the CPP, say he's an early statement, he has a duty to reconcile the CPP. He has a duty to call Mr. Ure in and say, Mr. Ure, these words that you've been using, they are not polite, and we can't encourage it in a collaboration. To call on Mr. Ure and somebody surrogate and say, look, tomorrow we need one another or each other. If there is a run-up, we need everybody. So let's tune down the rhetoric. We can't be shooting at each other. It doesn't benefit us. Is he taking a lead? No. He going and starting with one group. He's starting with one group.
All right.
He's writing letter. He can't get the agenda to come in on time. They delaying the agenda. When come and say, oh, but the agenda delay. How do we delay already beforehand? He said, no. They cancel the meeting. They cancel the meeting. You say, oh, it was coming, we'll complete. He said, oh, and we cancel the meeting because of coming. No, we're coming raising genuine issue. These are intelligent issues that Mr. Comey is raising. Anyone to discuss this thing, let us get the agenda far in advance so that we all will be able to meet with our executive committee and then we can inform ourselves before we come to the meeting. They haven't done that. Mr. Comey complained about it. They try to make Mr. Comey look bad. You know, this is not a way to run the country. If we are government in waiting, then we got to do the right thing. Why we are in government in waiting?
Mr. Jackson, it's obvious in the CPP there are two sides. A side that supports Ambassador Joseph Boakai, and of course, a side that supports Mr. Cummings. The side that supports Ambassador Boakai, politically speaking, is being championed by Henry Pedro Costa. And they are reason why I'm saying this. Anytime Costa position is different from the side that he supports, which is Boakai's side, then the leadership on that side will come to Costa's position. When Costa say, hey, I'm disappointed in the CPP for not releasing the report, there was a 160-degree turn. Yomli Kaka Lawrence came and inducted Mr. Cummings because Costa wanted it that way. There are many examples. So, but this is my question. The very Costa now is pushing the dissolution of the CPP, and that is the only way forward, and that the issue of primary or a convention to decide the CPP candidate is unnecessary at this point. Will Joseph Boakai follow, just as Yomli was dancing to the wind and caprices of Costa? And also, Costa is on record for referring to Joseph Boakai as a dead man walking, and Joseph Boakai accepts a support from a man who told him he was a dead man walking.
You know, I don't want to discuss Costa too much, but let me say this. First thing is, Costa has said, that's our first thing rhetoric. That my rhetoric there, I put that rhetoric back already, so it seems a man. I mean, that human being, so how you say so, you put it back, about it. But let me say this. It is a dangerous precedent for any of us in the CPP or in any political institution to make an individual to come across as being higher than the institution. That is hard. In Liberia, we are supposed to be building institutions. Even if the man have the gift of oratory, he cannot or you cannot put him or place him above the party. It's just sad. The other thing is, I'm not too sure Mr. Boakai will do that. Because if they were to pull up on the CPP, they will not get 1 cent support from anybody. Everybody, as a political actor myself, I'm keeping my ears on the ground. You know why are they saying not putting up on the CPP? Because they know the international partners, friends who want to give money, have said that the CPP will have to hold together, and you jump on that CPP, you get no down from us. That's why you see someone that continue to be in the CPP and be fighting like what they're fighting in the CPP. Because if you move on the CPP, nobody anywhere around who want to see a better Liberia put money behind you. So I'm not too sure Mr. Barrow made that mistake. If he made that mistake, it would be doomed. He would be doomed because he will not go anywhere and say, my one year can be my chair, I'll be, we have to give me money. They'll say, no, I'm not saying that. Relax. You can't make it. Even your age, you're not allowed.
Anthony Jackson.
So I'm telling you,
Anthony Jackson, do you?
Decision for them to make, because if they do that, they will not get anybody's support. That's why they are fighting in the CPP. And the other thing that you need to know why the fighting is intense is that anybody who emerges ahead of that ticket has a 60% already chance of beating upon President Weah. Let me use President Weah. I mean, I use upon because I pet me. Anybody who uses your pet name like you, right? So the CPP person I get offended because I use it upon, but President Weah, correct it, right? So because it's a formal conversation. But anybody who wins the CPP ticket have a 60% chance straight to win President Weah. That's why you see the fight is intensifying. But they will not pull out of that fight, because if you pull out of that fight, you will not get confidence to partner to support your campaign.
Thank you. Julius? All right, there is an issue at Julius' end. So, Mr. Jackson, the other portion of my question was the convention or the primary. So you are saying, given why you know it will happen, right? Go ahead.
I was talking now, but let me say this about the convention. It's the first thing they thought to do, and this was was informed by Julius. When they started talking about, we'll do block voting. But block voting is a system that has been wrongly criticized globally. Besides that, block voting was the same system the two-way party used to use. How can people who want to change Liberia come back and resurrect the upper boss of the two-way party by talking about block voting? So even entertaining that thought, they say that you want to carry Liberia whereby in a home. So I think at this stage, with the noise coming from the public and other intelligent and important people in community and in society, they are now pulled back the block voting thing. We will have to find a way that we will go to this convention, and a democracy requires one man will be entitled to one vote. If you do not trust your delegate, then there's a problem for you. How can you be head of a political party and say, I see my people will not listen to me? They don't trust them, and maybe they will be bought. You can't see expression on your own party thing. Can't see anybody intelligent do that. So you're the only person in the party that are intelligent, and every other person is going to be muppet, and they are corrupt people, so we can't trust them. We tie their hands and wear their knee on, don't see, they will put scam on it, they will look around it, and will do block voting. This is a complete ridiculous joke. And thank God that they have pulled that bad joke from our national discourse, and we're going to do what democracy requires. One man, one vote, stand up there and vote for who you want in the CPP. All right? That's the way to do it. And that's the way we got to do it. In fact, if we like, we could even do open primary. You go in the country and say, Akumi, Boakai, you're trying to see, I want to hear the CPP. But some they already agree that there will be 300 delegates each, and we have 2 people in the place there to go and decide if it's 102 people, 200 people, 1,200 people. They will have to go and stand up and vote individually. Block voting is a disgrace. It takes
Anthony Jackson, maybe the United Party Ambassador Boakai are afraid that Mr. Kumi may just use his finances to influence the outcomes of the delegate decisions to go his way, given that, he's the richest candidate.
You see, brother, what I'm saying is, all of these things are unfunded here, right? You know, Mr. Kumi is a decent man. He's a decent man. You know, anyone got money, you know, it's not anybody's problem. The way you work your life, that's what you got. So we put, it's a party. Cause you so ego. The way you see that what you are, we gotta start this thing. Mr. Kumi is a decent man. So if you want to say that Mr. Kumi will bribe your delegate and your delegates are bribable, it's casting expression on the delegate. That's a good way. You say your party who have been working loyally with you, who believe in you that you can be president. They will not believe in you. They will take money and over you. Why are you insulting our people like that? Why are you insulting your party like that? You are insulting.
But you, Jackson, you live in the country. You live in Liberia. You've been actively involved into the politics of Liberia in terms of election. You know things are hard in the country. Poverty is endemic in our country. Our people are poor over the last 174 years. Government in and all are not being able to create an enabling environment for the people to the extent that even the voters themselves are disappointed in the political leadership of the country and politicians to the extent that people who come into there must be bribing them for the vote before they vote for them. So that may possibly be the fear of Ambassador Boakai. You say, you know, our people, things are hard, even with election for representatives.
Brother, even things are hard. We cannot dispute the fact that things are hard. But what we also will not want to do is to cast expression on people. And we now say that Liberia is at a place that we don't have integrated people in the country or integral people in the country. Is that an argument we're now making? That nobody in Liberia gets integrated again, brother? No, that's not true, man. That's not it. This thing demonizes our partisans and our people. Our people have that integrity. But the test of their integrity is to stand up for truth in the face of the prophet and say, oh, I want Boakai, I'm voting on Boakai. Or to stand up and say, oh, I want Mr. Kumi, he has an impeccable credential, he has good experience, his achievement in private sector is remarkable, and we stand with him. Nobody should buy them. So we got to continue to bet on our people and give them the orientation and consciousness that whatever decision they make is a decision for our country, for a better Liberia. I sure our partisans can sacrifice for a better Liberia than to take maybe 200 or 1,500 for short term. The people, we have to trust our people. That's what democracy say.
Mr. Jaesen,
people.
Mr. Jaesen,
yes.
Does influencing voters with the use of money, some people call it cash violence, has it always worked? Does it work? Will it work?
No, but you see, that's a good question. Mm-hmm. There are many instances where it has not worked. Mm-hmm. Many instances where it has not worked. For example, one of the richest men in the 2005 election was Mr. Vani Boakai Shemo. Boakai Shemo got flocked even behind our party, Liberty Party. Let me tell you what 2005 we did. 2005, I headed the propaganda bureau of the Liberty Party as chairperson. I was able to assist with my friend Lami Pagod. Lami Pagod is now doing a very reputable job at the Carter Center. He's there. You can ask him. He's a living human being. And a few other brothers who were on the propaganda bureau. We used only $1,000 that was given to us from the party to run the propaganda bureau in 2005 voting campaign. And even with that $1,000, with our commitment, Protein team a strong team in the national election. All right? So that I don't get money. Brandon spent everybody in that election. Brandon, I think he came fourth place behind us. $1,000 to run propaganda bureau.
And we not count fourth place. I think he finished fifth place. He finished fifth place. Winston finished fourth place.
See, the point I'm making is their money thing, it has not always worked. Sometimes you can listen to I'm not money I ain't spent behind my friend Jaesen lying, but even though you were fortunate, so that's why after they can help people. But I'm not money they ain't spent against Jaesen. When the people decide they want Jaesen, they vote for Jaesen. Even though he called our people, it's a regret that many people now have, including a friend, Colette, and Yato and other people now, they are completely disappointed. Even Abraham Doda was making plan with me on Facebook for Jaesen. Today he and Jaesen were on the same row. But, you know, I just want to say that our people voted for Mr. Jaesen with us. All the money that CDC and I call my friend, so our people are integral people. They got integrity. So nobody should say that on one radio station or on one Facebook Live and inject the entirety of our citizenry. Our citizenry in the face of property and hard time, they have stood up tall, they have made correct decisions. Yes, they have made some wrong decisions, but they have made some very strong and intelligent decisions. So that's what democracy calls for. You make some decisions, you make good decisions, sometimes you make mistakes. That's right. But you will not sit on any radio station or on any Facebook because you get 5,000 followers, 10 million followers, and inject a Liberian citizen or inject our people in Liberia. Our partisans, they got integrity, they have stood up for integrity, and I show if the CPP were to organize a national convention to make a decision, though 1,200 people will make a sound decision putting Liberia first. I can bet on that.
All right, Mr. Jaesen, because of time, we have to leave you. I mean, we can appreciate how much you have been able to dive into the issue. Judah will ask his question, and then we will get your parting comments so we can take leave of you. Go ahead, Julius.
I want to ask you, Anthony Jaesen, it is believed that the way one manages his own domestic affairs, his own internal affairs in terms of exercising and showing leadership will determine how he manages public affairs.
Judah, he said you are not
saying, I'm saying, can you get me now? Mr. Jackson, can you get me? I'm saying it is believed the way one manages his domestic affairs in terms of showing leadership at his home will determine the way he manages public affairs in terms of showing leadership. If you look at the former Vice President Ambassador Boakai and his Unity Party, right? Do you believe in terms of better leadership, in terms of showing some level of astuteness, in terms of being judicial in decision making, right? Do you think that Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai has been able to exercise leadership in the Unity Party, where it is believed that the decisions of the Unity Party, where the Unity Party have been taking on some national issues, right, is widely been influenced by Mr. Ure and his surrogates? What do you have to say to that?
Bro, the thing is, we can speak to the evidence that before us in the public, right?
Even the blood voting you're talking about, it is believed it was a suggestion from Mr. Ure. Mr. Ure has been influencing major decisions within the Unity Party.
Yeah, so I need to answer the question. The point I'm making is, we can look at the evidence before us and whether we can judge the omen, whether or not, because it's adjudicating the facility of the issue before us, right? Mr. Boakai, I have been concerned with his leadership lapses in a way to speak. And I'm being euphemistic here because we can do other words, but we will not do that. Take for example, when my friend, the Secretary General in any political party has zero position, the Secretary General of the Unity Party did a despicable thing in the public. He was basically heard on telephone conversation encouraging a young girl to kill her unborn child, having had an illicit relationship with this girl. For me, that was a serious moral issue that Mr. Boakai should assume some leadership upon. Mr. Boakai woefully failed. That man is still in a position in the Western country that I live for almost 7 years now. And you try that thing, you call yourself, by the time you try, you'll be done. By the time you try, because that relationship was an adulterous relationship, right? Because Mr. Ali is married. They having extra relationship with one girl and staying together, take up better, having impregnated her. Mr. Boakai did not find that action offensive. He said absolutely nothing. Brother, is that a man who was scared our country too? You see our young girl that will be saving that country? Where a prophet in there, a minister that will just be violating young girl up and down and you will be saying nothing? Is that what you want? The old man who has reached that age will tell Mo Ali is doing that correct. That girl could be my daughter. So get your work, you move up behind your work, and you go behind one leg here, turn the leg here, and you try to figure out the way you do it, and that's correct. Mr. Brother,
and you think there's a gap of leadership in the Unity Party?
The point I'm making is the old man.
You think there's a gap of leadership? There's a gap of leadership in the Unity Party on the power of Ambassador Boakai. You believe that there's a depth of leadership, there's a depth, an absence of leadership in the Unity Party on the part of Ambassador Boakai, an elderly statesman.
I think he has not been demonstrating, robust leadership, so to speak. Because the example I just gave you, it should be an example that will offend any single father, right? Anybody who is a genuine father, anybody who is a fatherly figure, he should be offended by that. More than that, the chairperson of the Unity Party, it was a hotel name that was even being mentioned in that conversation. And all of them just found it very comfortable. They said nothing seriously. Mr. Ali kept a job. Ali for 1 week, he went on the radar. After 1 week, he came back, he got nothing, a chair, he moving around. Let nothing happen. Now, the people who have private morality should frown on adulterous relationship. Today, I'm told that my friend Dylan, his morality is a big question, but I'm told that his wife is grooming every night because they may either sleep who again say he won a second term. Adulterous relationship. Our public officials got to exercise public and private morality. It's important for the country. If you do not respect your wife, you fall in pain because you want election, you be senator now. Every night you sleeping up. You're going to Basel, you're sleeping in Basel. And everybody sees that you're sleeping in Basel. And your wife is living in agony. It is time for our country. So I am saying, if the old man did not frown on the private morality of the Secretary General, I'm concerned about what will happen under his leadership if he becomes president when ministers and directors start abusing our girls up and down. He will find comfort in that. And we should say no because he's not doing much now and we cannot bet on him for tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, we would like to take leave of you and then we can bring in comments, from our viewers. Again, we can't thank you enough. Let's get a minute of closing from you, sir.
Okay, I want to thank you, Mr. Pierre. Today was a very difficult day for me because Julius got the time, Julius and I got the time mixed up. I'm supposed to be doing a very important interview. My wife expected a very frown on me because I have to put this interview on hold because I love my country. I mean, getting a job in America, yes, it's something I want to do, but I have to put Liberia first. So I delayed the interview. My wife is not too happy. I'm appealing to her. I got to appeal to, to all you guys. But at least there's a commitment we can show to Liberia. I can say to all of us, now is the time for us to stand up for our country. It's good to say the truth. People may not like you for the truth, but tomorrow you will be referenced. All that I'm saying here today, I'm saying the truth, not because I love Mr. Boakai less. I worked with old man Boakai for 12 years. I love him. He's an older man. I think he should retire in dignity. And that's what I'm talking the way I'm talking. I don't love him less, except that I just love Liberia more. And if we genuinely love Liberia, we cannot be betting on 80-year-old man with a pacemaker in his chest. In African countries, where the president took power, in their youthful ages, and they are approaching age 70, age 77, they lead the children. The population in our countries are calling on them to step aside because that age is an age where you got to retire respectfully. You go to Uganda, the same thing. The Ugandans are not saying, so when you be here low, man, relax yourself. Now, Liberia is about to do the reverse. We are not taking the risk to give power to somebody who's already thinking. It's a shame. United Party got some real, strong, vibrant, young, intelligent, educated guys. Why can't they step up to the plate? Why do we have to go for an 80-year-old in 2023 with a pacemaker to change Liberia? It's a miracle. So I am saying this because I love my country. I'm not saying this because I love Mr. Boakai less. I'm saying this because I love Liberia more. I love Liberia more. And all of us should love Liberia more to the extent that we exercise courage and fortitude, stand up and speak good for Liberia and speak for the right so that our people can do the right thing. So I want to thank you for having me, and I look forward to coming next time when you have the time. Please don't hesitate to call me. I'm willing to have a debate with anybody who wants to have a debate with me. My friend Lobo can come. We can keep a conversation. And Lobo and myself, we are good friends. We keep intelligent conversation all the time. No fiery word, no inflammatory word. I'm prepared to exchange with him whenever he's available. But we need to keep this conversation so our people will understand where we stand and we're fighting for the forward advance of our party. A united party has put forward a strong, vibrant, young candidate. At this stage, we'll not be keeping the conversation. But we cannot bet on an 80-year-old with a pacemaker in his chest. No, brother, it's a shame. We shouldn't do it.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We will reach out to Mr. Lobo or anybody in the Unity Party. Unity Party folks, you are hearing it. Come for the debate and let's have a debate. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you very kindly.
All right. Well, Julius, it's over to you. You're listening to Mr. Jackson deliberation. We'll be going to comments and possibly calls. Go ahead.
Well, I think it was fiery. After Jackson is always tough talking. He doesn't mention his word. I mean, he speaks passionately like somebody who means what he says. Yeah, I think he has a point, but it is up to the Liberian people to make that determination in terms of whether or not what Asa Jackson is saying is syncing with the reality of Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai. That all of us who believe that Ambassador Boakai is the most experienced person in the CPP and is the only person that commands the number across the country to be able to bring an end to the ambassador. We are 6 years of rule. So I think the debate is interesting, and I think like Asa Jackson has said, it will be a good thing because when first posted on Facebook that we'll be bringing Anthony Asa Jackson and Menipeka Domoye, people were equally concerned. Why am I not inviting Unity Party people, supporter of Ambassador Joseph Boakai, to have a banner conversation about the prospects of the CPP and the future of our country? But I think we struggle to bring somebody who has a different view from Anthony Jackson and Menipeka Domoye on the show. He asked me to call him the next day and confirm his participation on the show, but in the down minute he declined, and he asked that I rearrange it for another time. He will avail himself. But that's something that we can consider hopefully next week Thursday to bring people who support Ambassador Boakai along with Asa Jackson so they can debate the issues.
Thank you so very much. We will bring in comments here, and then folks, the phone number to call is in the scrolling text there below. That number is 605-313-6004, and then you enter the code 791-403#. That is the number to call. If you call that number, you will be connected to our system here, and then we will allow you to participate. And when we give you the time to speak, you will be having a minute to do so. So bear with us here while we set that into place here quickly. You are watching the Freedom of Information Hour with Julius T. Jaesen as your host. I'm also here, trying to partner with Mr. Jaesen as we bring you this informative program here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Mama Liberia. Again, the phone line is set, and we will bring your comment. Julius, for the comments, you have to participate for us to read it. I read the first one, you read the other, and then we'll go in that line. So the comments will be appearing on the screen, so pay attention. Let's hear from James Jackson. Judy Asmon, CDC will defeat him massively. Let's hear this one. Julius, go ahead, read that one. Look on the screen, the comments.
James Thomas said, Asa Jackson, these are some of the reasons Liberian people love JMB. It is from Randall Thomas.
And I read
frankly, okay, we can read that.
No, I want you to, if I read one, then you read the next one. Let's go in that order. Go ahead.
Okay. So can I read?
Yeah, do, please.
Frankly, we say our country backward and small pace attitude amongst her peers is as a result of the kind of leaders we have voted for president. Our decision at the polls in time past have been the major contributing factors. ABC will make the difference.
Yeah,
that is what Franklin K. Wilson.
Yeah, Franklin K. Wilson, I think he said snail pace attitude. Let me read this one from Cartel. Unity Party is about to be evicted for my old man there who don't know book. The meaning of evicted is to get kicked out of your house. And this one for you, Julius. Julius, you have to pay attention. I'm putting the comments on the screen.
This one from James Koya Jackson. James Koya Jackson said JMB government will be Kochi, Costa, Mangio, Ober, Tue, Lobo, no change.
Like you're from Gayflow, right? Coming can stay develop Liberia by opening a company in a country and not necessarily has to be the president of Liberia. This one's for you, Julius.
Yeah, this one from Anthony Gay. Anthony Gay say Flomo Livingstone is not a prerequisite to becoming president of Liberia.
All right. Let's hear from Francis. Yeah, let's hear from Francis Stule. Where are the industries that Cummins has established in Liberia with all the millions you guys are saying that Cummins has? It is only in Liberia people will say that I will help the Liberian people. You make me president. Individuals like Mr. Jackson are the reasons why Liberia is where it is today. So sad for our country. Let's hear from. Wow, this is a long one for you, Julius.
Yeah, this person is. Can I read?
Yeah, go ahead, Julius. For you.
Welita Domba say, Tanish experience is like zero experience. The old man has played in multiple administration with no positive result. So what else needs to be proven? He even owes back rent in Bon County for party headquarters for more than 3 years. So is he planning to pay his past debts when he become president comes 2023? Adapt that possibility strongly. Once increase never ought. West still, if he has been the devil's stand up for 2 terms, what do you expect over net transformation? She asks.
Yeah, from Frederick here. If we can't re-elect President Weah, then we need to give Mr. Cummins a chance to lead. We need systems. JMB is old school. He can't give us systems. This one for you.
This one from Give Love Pay Goya. Give Love Pay Goya say private sector. He asked. Then what Cummins, who came from the private sector to, okay, I read there was internet fluctuation. Give Love said private sector. He asked. Then what Cummins, who came from the private sector, does not want to go to the private sector to develop his country.
Let's hear from Andrew here. Tevi Cole. I'm still waiting for example on where Nyuma stood up for women. Just one example. People like you should stop encouraging wrong if you want to help change Liberia. Let's bring this one in for you, Julius. Go ahead.
Yeah. Nani Bubab. He said, clearly this individual has not been reading Cummins' letter and statement and conversation, so biased.
All right. This one from Tevi Ko again. But Mr. Jaesen, you said let be words. A common pattern of the educated or intelligentsia elite. I think we need to focus on the art. Did not occur or not. All right. Let's bring in one more and then we will see if we have people waiting on the phone line. Go ahead.
Murphy Deco, we got Murphy Deco. Murphy Deco says, Mr. Jackson, you have said all the good things, but I haven't heard you talk about the author framework document. I hope you can better expand on it.
All right. Then finally, from Judy Asma again, JMB 40 years experience. What is the change or system he has put into place? We'll leave it there for comments. Let's see if we have callers. We do have one. And we will bring that caller in here quickly. And folks, again, it is time for you to call. You should call and speak, or as they always say, hold your peace. Let's hear from this caller calling from Pennsylvania. Call your name.
My name is Anthony. How you doing, Mr. Here and your co-host there. What I really want to say here is that, first of all, Mr. Daki is a fiery speaker just like me. I have made.
Did you say just like you? Did you say just like you? Are you a fiery speaker?
I am a fiery speaker.
Then you need to bring some of that fire here so that I can have a conversation with you. Go ahead.
Definitely, we need to have that conversation because, first of all, I want to front on stuff for a moment before I expand on what I have to say.
Okay.
There is something called FCJ. FCJ. S as in Sam, C as in Paul, J as in George, Julia. I'm sorry. There is an FCJ Code of Ethics of Journalism in America. Anybody can Google it and follow the Code of Ethics of Journalism. What they did violates journalism protocol. Period. You don't sit and eat with the person you're going to interview. You don't take gifts from them because that compromises your true independence. The fact that you can dine with someone that you're going to interview, it compromises your true independence. Whether prior or post-interview, you don't sit and dine with them. You don't accept any gift. If you're running a media institution, you don't do none of those things. And that was done by the top CEO and the rest of the other panelists. That is below the belt. You don't have to be a journalist, but once you are in the media, you must abide by every other thing. And like other people drive cars because they are professional drivers. Other people also drive cars because they are private citizens, they have to drive a car.
All right.
Also want follow the driving rules.
Thank you.
You don't drive because you say, oh, because I'm a private citizen, so I gotta drive this way. Because the other men have a CDL license, so they have to drive this way. No.
Thank you.
You take the traffic, the rules apply to everyone.
Thank you.
Said that. Let me get to my point. There's my point. I love DMB. He's a statesman of our country. But here's the thing. I am a millennial. I cannot mortgage my future to DMB. DMB has had 4 decades of his life. Every time they ask him of his experience, the first thing he goes to is LPMC. How old was I when LPMC was around? How do I relate to LPMC? I cannot relate to LPMC. There is nothing about LPMC right now I can go to and look at.
Thank you.
We always talk about LPMC. That defeats the purpose.
Thank you.
So talk about things that I can relate to. Thank you very much.
All right. Julius, you have a caller at your end. I'll take that one.
Yeah, we have a caller on the line. Caller your name and where are you calling from?
Okay. Oh. Thank you, Anthony and Julius. My name is Franklin K. Wisser, and I call from Philadelphia. So, first of all, let me just quickly, thank you for this program. And I want to say, thanks to Anthony Isaac Jaesen for his contribution. You see, look, there is a problem with us Liberians. We are the architects of our own miseries. Let me tell you, what is happening today at the level of the CPP is an orchestration of a handful of people who feel entitled, who are consumed by greed, and who will go to any extent to ensure that they are the ones who determine what happens with the CPP at all costs, disregarding all of the basic democratic tenets. And some people who are supposed to be leaders are using their surrogates to fight proxy war, something that has brought and led the CPP into pockets of disintegration. However, while they will struggle, and I strongly doubt they might have success in this, to be able to mend fences, some of us have advanced against this over the time, and we can say clearly that it is seemingly impossible that they will have or find a common ground before 2023. However, for too long have we, when I say we, I mean Liberians, counted on the issue of numbers in elections. And we've used that mentality to elect our public officials. It has never helped us, and we cannot continue to do the same thing over and again and expect different results. Moving forward, some of us have been over the fence, hoping that these people will put aside the differences and chart a kind of a course of unionism, but it has come to a point that it seems that they will be going in separate ways towards the presidency. And we are going to rally around the best mind, a person with a proven record of success and achievement. And I have no doubt that Alexander Cummings has distinguished himself as a Liberian with impeccable character and a proven record of success, even if he doesn't have the numbers. We will rally the numbers on his behalf. We will talk to our people to see reason to do things a little bit differently, because we cannot continue to be languishing at a snail pace amongst the Committee of Nations, even though we brag of being the oldest republic with so much resources and nothing to show for it.
Thank you.
We will inform our people to go to the polls from the background of an informed decision-making process. Thank you very much for this. And henceforth, we are going to be engaged with the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank Louisa. Thank you for calling.
All right. Lecture, Mr. Aliu Kamara. Mr. Kamara, you have a minute, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I think, Isaac Jackson, George Weah has made several bad judgments, but kicking Isaac Jackson to the curb is one of the best decisions that George Weah ever made. This is one of the most, I don't know what kind of man who claims to be educated would just make statements and not understand the connotations or the ramifications of these statements. A proper lie and fix them with passion. That way he's able to convince people. You understand what I'm saying? Who determines who dies, when who dies, and how somebody dies? Who determines whether or not a man, a 70-year-old, 80-year-old, will die before Isaac Jackson? So this is silly in nature to make such comments. And I'm glad he's enjoying his time. A lot of his friendly media are enjoying him coming up and lambasting like he's doing, and it's not going to help them. Let me say this: Joseph Nyuma gave to some people from Spoon. And I think it was a sign of a true reconciler. That's what Joseph Nyuma exhibited. Liberian people, you have to understand your culture, your tradition, and your heritage. And Joseph Nyuma is a symbol of those things. Now, on Spoon FM, Joseph Nyuma has been heavily criticized, and his health, his age, has been something that has been under scrutiny on many occasions, coming from Peabody, coming from all of the other guys. Okay? And Joseph Boakai comes to meet these very people who have been accusing and condemning him, embraces them, and gives them gifts.
Maybe to shut them off. So you're giving them gifts.
No. Well, that's an assumption. That's an assumption that is unfounded, because first of all, Joseph Boakai,
I said maybe. I'm not assuming. I said maybe.
They have complained Boakai on that show of not really wanting to appear on the show. So Joseph Boakai is not a guy who wants to be on Spoon anyway.
All right.
Okay. The reality release here is that look, people like Isaac Jackson is very unpopular. The way he spoke on your show tonight, he has tried to do that on George TV in Liberia. He's been cut off on many occasions because he speaks like someone. In fact, when he talks about DeLong being a high school dropout, I mean, what sense does it make that DeLong is more reserved? DeLong calm dominion, and he's more put together than you, the Isaac Jackson. What good is your degree? But let me just say this before I go. Joseph Nyuma, regardless of how painful it sounds to people who support Alexander Cummings, and they are unnecessarily believe that because Cummings served with Coca-Cola, that means Cummings will become a good president, and he's going to bring change, and he got his money from the private sector. George Weah did that too. George Weah had clean money, and this is what we're looking at today. So there's nothing. Let me just make this promise to you guys. Joseph Nyuma will be in the race for president. I'm not even discussing CPP anymore. Joseph Nyuma will be a contender in the 2023 presidential election. But take that.
Manion CPP, Aliu? Manion CPP?
Manos plus. Joseph Boakai will be a contender in the 2023 election.
Thank you. Let's take this one here. Caller with phone number ending in 7817. Your name and where are you joining us from? Caller, are you there? The caller seems not to be ready for prime time. Caller with number ending in 7817. Are you with us? That caller might be taking a nap. Julius, do you have one at your end?
No, I do not have.
All right. Well, folks, thanks. It's fast spent. Julius, I think we have to close the broadcast because of time. I want you to give your closing, and then we can take leave of our audience here.
Well, want to say it was a very interesting conversation this evening from my end, especially a maiden edition of the Freedom of Information Hour, a new program broadcast on the Focus on Liberia online TV. So we hoping to do more to be able to reach out to our people of all walks of life, so that we bring on this platform, people with diverse opinions on issues where we discuss socio-political and economic development of our country, all in an effort of enabling a better Liberia, a better future for our country. Nothing else we can do than to use our time productively by sacrificing to enable a better Liberia. This is a program to our viewers that comes for now every Thursday, Liberian time, 3 p.m. The U.S. time, I think Anthony will call it, right?
Yep. The
so
U.S.
time,
11 a.m. Eastern time. 11 a.m. Eastern time, the U.S. time. Go ahead.
And from a time around the Eastern Mediterranean, the Middle East, where I am, it is 5 p.m.
All right.
So I want to say to our viewers, thank you for following, thank you for watching. You can join us next week, Thursday, same time, and we'll be here to serve you.
Thank you so very much. Again, Julius, we can't thank you enough for joining the Focus on Liberia family with your show, Freedom of Information Hour, that is now scheduled every Thursday at 3 p.m. Liberian time and 11 a.m. Eastern time here in the United States. Continue to follow our Facebook page for our flyer. Anytime Thursday is coming, so that you can know the topic and the guest that Julius will be bringing on the Freedom of Information Hour here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate and elevate and promote all things Liberia. This is how we will bring down the curtains with our song that says we are all Liberians. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, and thank you, Julius.
We are Liberia.
Thank you, Anthony, for handling the technical aspect.
Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.